Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Vice President, International Conferences, The New York Times, Achilles Tsaltas.
Good morning and welcome. It's wonderful to be here in Doha with you all, Your Excellency, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the third edition of the Art for Tomorrow conference, and it's great to see some wonderful minds of the art and architecture world gathered here in Doha. We're looking forward to an exciting 3 days. And it's wonderful to see the presence, obviously, of Her Excellency, Sheikha Al-Mayasa bin Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, Chairperson of Qatar Museums. Your Excellency, you've been there from the very beginning, from the inception of this. You've inspired us, and we've created, I believe, a great thought leadership platform for the art world. So thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is more than a conference. It's really an experiential feast. From the START exhibition on level 29 to the Coins exhibition, a groundbreaking exhibition at MIA, from the wonderful museums that are here in Doha, and there's plenty of exhibitions at the moment, to the Richard Serra installation in the desert, to the Katara Cultural Village. There'll be plenty of things for you to experience, and we are pushing the boundaries. And talking about boundaries, let me just share with you a little bit behind the scenes as to how we came up with this year's conference. After last year's conference, I happened to walk through the Alexander McQueen Savage Beauty exhibition at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. And I was struck by one quote that Alexander McQueen had there. And I quote, he said, it's, you've got to know the rules to break them. And that's what I'm here for, to demolish the rules, but to keep the tradition. So that really resonated with me. Perhaps it was the eve of my 50th birthday, and I thought I'm going through a bit of a crisis there, but it really resonated. I thought of Art for Tomorrow. We spoke with our program director, Aidan Walker, and he thought, that's it. We'll talk about tradition and pushing boundaries, identity, and the public realm. Without further ado, I would like to call on our chairman and publisher of the New York Times Company, Mr. Arthur Sulzberger, to open the conference. Arthur, over to you.
Thank you, Achilles, and good morning to everybody here. I am, as you just heard, Arthur Sulzberger, Jr., the publisher and chairman of the New York Times, and it is my honor and my pleasure to be in Doha to welcome you to our first full day of the New York Times Art for Tomorrow conference. The New York Times has a long and distinguished tradition of art and culture coverage, whether it's our renowned bestseller list for books, our must-read art, film, and theater reviews, or staffing more critics and culture reporters than any other daily publication. The breadth and quality of our reporting, as well as the unique influence on identifying and defining trends, gives the Times an unrivaled reputation in this area. However, we do not like to rest on our laurels. We continue to strive to improve and tailor our offerings, especially in this digital and global era, so that readers can understand the important issues, identify emerging trends, and make the right decisions, whether cultural, political, or economic. Never has that been more important than now amidst dramatic political change in the United States and around the world. The Art for Tomorrow conference is another terrific example of our commitment to leading in this area. Over the next 3 days, you will join us on an exciting journey with many leaders, thinkers, and influencers from the world of art, business, architecture, and policy to explore the important questions around this year's theme, boundaries, identity, and the public realm. Our navigators will be the Times' leading arts and culture journalists, Farah Nayari and Robin Pogrebin, and Pilgrim, and of course, our esteemed op-ed columnist, Roger Cohen. Now, before I go on, I do feel compelled to speak very briefly about the United States, our new administration, and what impact it already has in terms of how our country is viewed on the global stage, particularly in this part of the world. As the publisher of the Times, with apologies, I'm publisher of the Times, but more important, I am an American citizen, and it pains me to see that my government is adopting isolationist policies, scapegoating immigrants, and rejecting the American ideal of welcoming the foreign-born. America was founded on the principles of openness and opportunity for all. And while we have not always lived up to that principle, immigrants have always played a very critical role in our country, and that remains true to this day. According to a study that came out very recently, about half of the startups in the United States that are valued at more than $1 billion had one or more immigrant founders. That's incredible, and it's vital to our continued success as a nation. I have every confidence that in the end, the values that the world has come to associate with the United States, democracy, liberty, equality, prosperity, and human rights, will prevail, and we will remain a country open to all who want to work hard to make it their home, regardless of their origin, of birth, or their religion. Now, let me return to the reason we are all here this morning. The Times' steadfast commitment to the arts is something we share with both our event partner, Qatar Museums, and Doha itself, a place whose regional and increasingly global recognition as an artistic and cultural destination make it an entirely appropriate setting for these conversations and the networking that will happen here over the next 3 days. So I'd like to extend our sincerest thanks to our generous sponsors, including our headline sponsors, Richard Meal, and Numismatica Genovensis. Apologies for my bad pronunciation. Our bronze sponsors, the German Federal Foreign Office and Al-Bahi Auction House, our official airline sponsor, Qatar Airways, and our host sponsors, Jeddah Holdings and W Doha Hotel and Residence. And I'd also like to thank the W Doha Hotel and Jeddah Holdings for helping to host the inaugural Start Doha Art Fair on the 29th floor, providing a terrific opportunity to see the creative spirit of this event brought to life. I encourage you all to visit and take in the experience at some point over the course of this conference. This year's event has been closely involved in the debut of one of the most important Islamic coin collections in the world, as many of us saw last night. Working together with Qatar Museums and Numismatica Genovensis, this rare exhibit will be on display from this weekend for several weeks at the Museum of Islamic Art. We're honored that we have been involved in bringing this once-in-a-lifetime exhibition to the public. I'd also like to express my gratitude to Dar al-Sharq, with whom we have a long-standing successful partnership in publishing here in Qatar. And lastly, I want to express my deep thanks to Her Excellency Sheikha Al-Mayasa bint Hamad bin Khalifa Al-Thani. Thank you so much for everything you have done for this wonderful, to bring this conference to life in our third year. So thank you. So with that, I think I turn this back over to our Greek organizer-in-chief, Achilles.
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you.